because I'm not sure if you saw this Truth Social post that he made talking about Project 2025.
Oh, wait, the project he'd swear to know nothing about?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
What maybe he does actually just think at this point that the American people will believe whatever he says, and that he can go and he can lie and he can manipulate the truth or present false truths, whatever way he wants to put a little cherry on top of him being a pathological liar. He can go out and say whatever he wants, and the American people, are going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And one of these things was Project 2025. And it now seems like, wait a minute, the president of the United States, like Kamala Harris said, like Democrats have been saying, like people on the left have been saying, knows what Project 2025 is. And I mean,
Hmm.
it's not a surprise to anyone with, common sense, because half of his administration are the authors of Project 2025. But I mean, what do you have to think about this?
You know, I think he does, think people are going to believe whatever he just says, or they have so much faith or confidence in him that whatever he says, um, is true, right? That they're just going to take it for him at his word as to what he's, whatever he says, it's okay. Yeah, well, Trump said it, so it must be right. It must be true, right? But it just kind of shows like how much of a liar he was, right? And he even calls, praises Project 2025, the same thing that he claimed to not know or had not had any part of. He knew nothing about it. He had never heard of it. Now all of a sudden he's all on board with it, which we knew he was all on board with it the whole time. Like you said, like so many people that are in his administration played a role in that. He's carrying out that playbook, page by page, right as it goes along. So,
No.
unfortunately, I think there are people that kind of do that. They are going to believe him no matter what. But I think more people are kind of starting to realize, and that's why he's underwater. He does not have the support of the American people. He does not have the support of, not even close to having a majority of the support of the American people. Some of the lowest ratings ever. Still into like early into his first year. The first part of his term, and they know what direction this country is going. Tariffs are ruining the economy. There's no stability. Healthcare costs are going to go up. But you know what? It's okay for Trump because, he's making billions on stable coin or whatever kind of coin he's like making there. He's got his tax cuts that he wants. He has the courts, Supreme Court doing his bidding no matter what. And, as the Supreme Court said earlier, even before he came into the White House, he doesn't have to worry about crime or anything like that you know, because he's the president. So you can't, they ruled, what is it? You can't prosecute a president of the United States or as long as he's committing it in the terms of his power and doing what he needs to do in order to there, he's okay.
Yeah.
So it's he has no fear, right? There's no retribution. There's nothing to worry about.
No, yeah. And I mean, shocker, the 80-year-old billionaire didn't have the interests of working class Americans in his heart. And he is
Yeah.
only looking to benefit himself. Like, wait, maybe that's the only thing that he's done his entire life, look to benefit himself. Um, I am interested to hear if you know anything about the NSPM 7, this act that Donald Trump signed. I heard about it 2 days ago. It was actually excellent reporting from Ken Klippenstein, talking about NSPM 7. And NSPM 7 is basically essentially an executive action that will classify anyone who goes against traditional American values, family values, who is anti-capitalist, who is anti-Trump, essentially, as a terrorist. So now, if you're anti-Christian, if you're of another religion, if you speak out against the administration, if you go against traditional family values, if you support migrant justice, if you speak about gender or race in a way that the Trump administration does not agree with, they can label you as a terrorist. And these are the things in Project 2025 that Donald Trump was tasked with putting into effect when he was, elected as president of the United States by these Project 2025 backers, or supported by these Project 2025 backers. Um, but this is your first time hearing about the NSPM 7, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of this. It's another one of his executive orders, I guess, that he signed or whatever, right? But it is, look, he's going after the First Amendment, which is a key, part. That's why it's the First Amendment, right? Or the Bill of Rights. It was the
Yeah.
First Amendment they thought to put together, when George Mason refused to sign the Constitution because it didn't have a Bill of Rights. And he's crapping all over it. He's stepping all over it. He is, just that's what being an American is the ability to kind of speak up and speak out when you don't agree. And the
Yeah.
fact that they are trying to destroy that and eliminate it. Again, not the country I want to be living in.
No, 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 no. And it's like the irony again, it goes into the 1984, and we're going to have some crazy 1984 references today with some of the stuff that's going on with, obviously the speech at Quantico, and then some actions that are being taken in Venezuela. But it's the 1984 doublethink, where it's like,
Hmm.
hey, if you criticize the Constitution of the United States, you're going to be labeled a terrorist and you'll go to jail. You think about it for a little bit, and you're like, wait a minute, doesn't that kind of go against the whole thing that the Constitution says? Aren't you
Yeah.
supposed to be able to freely express yourself? Obviously, within reason, but that reason is a very high bar. Any
Yeah.
restrictions on free speech are not taken lightly. These are,
Hmm.
decisions that the Supreme Court has made with a lot of thought, a lot of consideration. But again, the president of the United States just willy nilly saying, you know what, if you say something that I don't like, if it doesn't pass my vibe check, you're going to be labeled a terrorist. And it's a part of this 2025 agenda, calling Democrats and calling the DNC terrorist organizations.
Look, we know he tries all the time, right? Again, this is just another example, too, of his executive order trying to supersede the law. And the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. And you have under that the right to free speech, the right to petition, peaceful assembly, freedom of the press, all these things that are part of that, right? Freedom of religion. You can't, your executive order cannot supersede that. And I don't even think the Supreme Court could go against that. But it's not going to be popular. It wasn't popular when John Adams tried to do something there early in the American, the young age of the nation, when he tried to kind of suppress the press and people speaking out against him. It's not going to be popular now, and so it's not going to work. And his executive orders don't supersede the law, no matter what he thinks. He is not a dictator. We still have a constitution. We still have laws, and he can't override them.
Yeah, yeah, but he sure as hell is going to try to.
Oh
And
no, I'm not yet denying that. Right? He is. I'm not denying that he's not going to try,
yeah,
but he can't.
yeah, yeah. No, and I, again, going back to 2028 or 2026, a lot of people are like, oh, they'll ask me, do you think that he's actually going to try to cancel the elections, or he's going to try to, do something with the He already tried in 2020. He called the governor of Georgia and asked him to find him votes. Like, what do you mean if he's going to try? He already did.
Yeah, I mean it is. Again, right, that's where we got to have our faith in those people, right, that they're going to do their job and do what's right and kind of follow, the results, and not just kind of overchange something because they don't like what they see. And look, there were a lot of Republicans, that were in those roles that kind of stood up, right, and we need to have faith that they're going to do the same thing next time too, that they're going to protect their elections.
Yeah, yeah. And beyond that, I would say we need to remember that, like with the Jimmy Kimmel situation, pressure by the people leads to changes. When
Yeah.
when the American people stand up, make their voices heard, and that's why he's going after the First Amendment so much, for that freedom of assembly that you're mentioning, that
Hmm.
the ability that we have to petition our grievances against the government, the free speech that we have. When we exercise that and put pressure on, whether that be the president of the United States, whether that be a private company that we don't agree with the actions that they're taking, there are consequences for that. And it causes the change that we want to see. So as long as the American people are standing up and advocating for themselves, I'm going to have faith in this project. because it really is. I mean, that's the whole heart of democracy. Our ability to petition our grievances and to criticize the president of the United States.